For decades, getting a Bachelor of Business Administration, the BBA, was pretty much a golden ticket to a great corporate job. But today, something's wrong. It's facing a serious identity crisis, and enrollment numbers are dropping. So what on earth happened? Let's dig in and investigate.
So this is the central mystery we're trying to solve. Why is this foundational degree, a degree that used to be a sure thing, suddenly in so much trouble? Well, the answer is way more complicated than you might think. It involves a massive shift in what everyone, from students to the companies that hire them, really expect from a university education these days.
To get to the bottom of this, we're not just guessing. We're going straight to the sources. We're going to look at hard data from all the key players in this story. The students trying to figure out their future, the parents who are footing the bill, the industry that's supposed to hire these grads, and of course, the academics and administrators who actually run these programs. Okay, our investigation begins with the absolute core of the problem. The value of a BBA is being seriously questioned. The whole equation of cost versus time versus the job you get at the end, it's being completely recalculated by the very people it's meant to serve. Here's our first major clue, and it comes directly from prospective students. Get this, a staggering 70.2% of them admit that the BBA is not their first choice. I mean, just think about that for a second. That's more than 2/3 of its target audience already looking somewhere else. That's a huge red flag. And you know who feels the exact same way? Their parents. The data shows that almost 78% of them would rather their child go for a degree with a very clear, defined career at the end of it. You know, like becoming a doctor, an engineer, or getting into IT. The BBA's jack-of-all-trades approach is clearly losing out to the promise of a specific, predictable job. So if students and their families aren't choosing the BBA anymore, what are they looking for instead? Well, the evidence points to some very, very clear demands about two big things: cost and value. You know, the whole value question really just boils down to return on investment. And this number, 83.3%, is powerful stuff. It shows that a huge majority of parents believe that salary they expect a BBA graduate to make is just not good enough. They're looking at the price tag, they're looking at the potential paycheck, and for them, the math just isn't adding up. And on the issue of cost, well, here they are, an almost perfect agreement. As you can see from this chart, over 80% of both students and their parents see the total cost of a 4-year degree as a massive financial hurdle. For so many of them, it's just too expensive for the value they think they're getting. This new reality is forcing students to forge totally new paths. Instead of the classic 4-year BBA, they're now choosing shorter, more affordable diplomas, they're looking for opportunities to work overseas, or they're jumping into specialized degrees that seem to offer a much clearer and, frankly, faster route to a good career. Okay, so we know students and parents are skeptical, but what about the people who are actually supposed to hire these graduates? Let's turn our investigation to the industry and see if the BBA is delivering the kind of skills that employers actually need right now. This quote from our industry survey reveals a massive shift. For modern marketing jobs, an overwhelming 90.6% of experts prefer candidates who have a background in IT, computer science, or data analytics. Your classic marketing major on its own just doesn't cut it anymore. And this preference for specialists, it's happening everywhere. The data shows that almost 94% of employers prefer professional qualifications for finance roles. And more broadly, over 90% explicitly say they value a specialized education over a general BBA. The verdict from the job market is crystal clear. They want experts. And here's where it gets really painful. Nearly half of all employers, we're talking 46.9%, find that BBA graduates just aren't good enough with the essential tools of the trade, like Advanced Excel or Power BI. There's a major gap between what the curriculum is teaching and what the workplace actually demands. So far, the evidence is really starting to pile up against the BBA. Let's shift our focus now to the institutions themselves. Are universities even able to adapt to all these new demands, or are they pretty much stuck in an uphill battle? Well, universities are absolutely feeling the squeeze from the outside. Over 80% of academics agree that competition from new, local institutions has gotten way more intense. And with more options closer to home, fewer students are willing to travel for a general degree, which puts these traditional universities under some serious pressure. And internally, they've got a really serious bottleneck. The market wants specialized programs, right? But to offer them, universities need faculty with very specific, modern expertise. The problem? A huge number of academics point to a shortage of this qualified faculty as a key barrier holding them back from modernizing the curriculum. This number, This is the smoking gun from inside the university. 100%. Every single academic surveyed agreed that faculty need more real-world industry exposure to make their programs relevant and attractive to today's students. That's a unanimous cry for a reality check. We've heard from all our witnesses. We've looked at the evidence from every single angle. Now it's time to bring it all together and deliver the final verdict on the BBA's identity crisis. So, what's the core problem? Well, you can boil it down to one phrase: educational inertia. The world has changed. It's demanding practical, digital, and specialized skills. But the traditional BBA, for the most part, just hasn't kept up. It's still too theoretical, and it's simply not adapting fast enough. And the consensus on this is just overwhelming. Let's look at the numbers one after the other. First, 92.3% of academics agree that their own degrees are too based in theory. They're joined by 100% every single one of college administrators. And on the hiring side, 87.5% of industry experts confirm that practical experience is a major factor for them. The disconnect is just undeniable. So our final conclusion is clear. The BBA's crisis isn't caused by just one single thing. It's a perfect storm created by high costs that families can't justify, a perception of unclear value and poor returns, and this massive, growing gap between its generalist curriculum and the specialized needs of the modern workforce. And that leaves us with one final critical question. In a world that increasingly values and rewards specialization and tangible technical skills, what is the future for a generalist degree like the BBA? That's the billion-dollar question that business schools everywhere now have to answer.